All right, so today we're going to dive into something that's becoming more and more critical, I think, for businesses of all sizes, and that is cyber insurance. But specifically, we're going to be looking at a report called the CARE Report from the Tech Collective.
Yeah.
And it's really designed to kind of be a guide, I guess you could say, through the complexities of cyber insurance.
That's an interesting report.
Yeah, so in this deep dive, we really want to pull out what are the key insights of this report? What does it offer? And how can this actually be relevant to, our listeners who are trying to navigate this increasingly complex world of cyber risk and insurance?
Yeah.
And from what I've seen so far, it seems like this CARE report has two main functions. One is identifying vulnerabilities in your systems.
Yes.
And then two is using that information to kind of help tailor your cyber insurance.
Exactly. And I think what's really fascinating is that it provides this sort of very detailed assessment of a company's cybersecurity posture.
You're right. So it's not just like a surface level check.
Exactly. It's going deep. And I think that's where the value really comes in, because it's not just saying, oh, you need to have cybersecurity measures in place. It's actually identifying, where are your vulnerabilities? Specifically, what are the potential threats that you're exposed to?
Okay, so it's getting very specific to your situation.
Very specific. And I think that's really where the rubber meets the road. Because, we can talk about cybersecurity in general terms, but when you actually get down to the nitty gritty of like, okay, these are the systems you have in place, these are the vulnerabilities that exist within those systems, then you can start to actually prioritize your mitigation efforts.
Right.
You can focus on the areas of most critical concern.
So it's not just about like having a general worry about cyber attacks, but you're kind of getting very concrete information about where you might be at risk.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so powerful about this report, because it moves beyond the theoretical into the practical and gives you something tangible to work with.
Yeah, and then this ties into the second function of the report, which is tailoring your cyber insurance.
Yeah.
How does this information about your specific vulnerabilities then translate into, choosing or getting the right insurance?
But, we think about it. Insurance is all about understanding risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And traditionally, you'd go to an insurance broker. You'd say, okay, I need cyber insurance. They'd give you a generic policy, and you'd hope for the best.
You just kind of check a box.
Exactly, check a box. But what the CARE report does is it flips that script. It says, okay, let's first understand your specific risk profile based on these vulnerabilities, and then let's tailor the insurance to actually meet those needs.
So it's not just having some cyber insurance, it's about having the right cyber insurance.
Precisely. It's about closing those gaps in coverage.
Yeah.
Because a generic policy might not cover you for those specific threats that you're facing.
Yeah.
And it's really about aligning the coverage with your unique risk profile.
Right. And I think, a lot of businesses have cyber insurance, but it sounds like this CARE report is giving them a level of understanding that they probably didn't have before.
Absolutely. Because you might have a policy, but does it actually cover you for ransomware attacks? Does it cover you for social engineering attacks? These are the kinds of questions that the report helps you answer.
And I guess without that knowledge, you're just kind of hoping for the best.
You're crossing your fingers, right?
Yeah.
And that's not a good strategy when it comes to cybersecurity.
Definitely not. So the CARE report helps you kind of be more precise about where you need coverage.
Absolutely. It's about precision. It's about making sure that if something does happen, you're adequately protected and the financial impact is minimized.
Right. And beyond just choosing the right insurance, the report also talks about, enhancing your resistance to attacks and potentially getting more favorable insurance terms.
Yeah, that's a key point, because the CARE report isn't just about identifying vulnerabilities. It's about actually giving you actionable recommendations on how to improve your cybersecurity defenses.
So it's like giving you homework.
It is homework, but it's homework that can save you a lot of heartache down the line.
Right, because the idea is if you implement those recommendations, you're not only going to be less attractive to attackers, but you're also going to be able to show the insurance companies, hey, look, we're being proactive. We're actually taking this seriously.
Exactly. And that can translate into more favorable insurance terms.
Yeah.
Potentially lower premiums.
It's like showing them you've done your homework.
Exactly. It's about building that trust and demonstrating that you're not just a passive recipient of insurance, but you're an active participant in managing your risk.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really important for businesses to understand these days, because it's not just about, getting insurance and hoping for the best. It's about being proactive about your security posture.
Absolutely. And I think the CARE report is a really valuable tool for helping companies do just that.
Yeah. It sounds like, so to our listeners, if you're out there and you're thinking about cybersecurity and insurance, This care report from the Tech Collective sounds like something that is worth looking into. It can help you really understand your weaknesses, make sure you have the right insurance in place, and potentially save you money.
Absolutely. And you can find more information on their website at www.carry-report.com and also on LinkedIn.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. So I guess the final question for our listeners today is this. In this increasingly complex cyber threat landscape, how might having this detailed, tailored understanding of your specific risks change how you think about digital security and insurance?
It's something to really consider, I think.
For sure. All right, well, that's it for today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. All right, everyone, stay safe out there.
Stay safe.